Hey guys, my name's John, and my friends call me Izzy, and you can too. This is Izzy's Painting Workshop. Welcome aboard. Alright, so I'm going to try and make this a short video this week. I know it's been a while since I've produced any content. Life has been a little hectic lately, and my personal life and professional goals have gotten in the way of me being able to even pick up a paintbrush for a while. My boy J-Mac had put out a request that I do a tutorial on NMM, non-metallic metal, and I do at some point plan to work on that, but the subject itself is a bigger subject than just a short, quick video. Like, there's other things you need to know leading up to doing NMM. Like, you need to know glazing, you should know a little bit about blending, like, we should talk a little about contrast. Like, NMM is the culmination of a series of other techniques, and I think I bit off a little bit more than I could chew when I said I was going to do an NMM episode, when I have a long way to go before I can just jump right into that without giving you basics. I did do some test footage because I'm also trying to practice painting on camera. Like, I don't know if you've seen my past videos, I'm not always the best at staying on camera, and that can be frustrating to watch, and I know that, and I'm sorry, and I'm trying to improve. But, so, I don't have that super NMM video that I was going to put out for JMac, but I do have this footage that I have been using, and it is on the NMM technique. It's nowhere near an end-all be-all or anything, but it's at least very basic concepts for how to do NMM. And it's not like gold NMM, it's just regular, like, silver metallic, not even like bright silver, but like steel metallic. For my LF4 specifically, I did some work on a Dakini tack bot, and had I known I was going to film this video before I started painting the Dakini tack bot, it would have been a great piece to use for examples for how to do NMM and how light works. And I do show a little bit of that in the footage, but I will show you a little bit of that, but it's nowhere near as comprehensive as it should be. It's a big topic, and when I do someday tackle it, I want to do it justice, and I don't think that it's not a simple just topic to do. In the meantime, if you are thirsty for NMM videos, I highly recommend checking out ones that are done by Angel Yaraldez. He does great tutorials, and he does them for a living. He's been a painter in the industry for years, and he's top-notch. So I would recommend looking at his stuff, or you could check out Hobby Cheating by Vince Ventruella. He does some NMM stuff too. Also, Lila Mev also did a video completely on NMM, not completely on NMM, but like very focused on NMM, on a miniature that was large and gave good example. These people all do this for a living, and they do an excellent job at what they do. There's more artists than that, but I'm not going to name them all here. Anyway, I'll show you what I did for practice footage, and like this is like not a super serious video, but like it'll at least give you some insight into what I do. Let's get into it. All right. And I'm gonna hit this area, and I'm gonna hit it with a gray, and I'm just hitting this whole area with a gray. And the gray I'm using is scale 75. Antarctic gray. So the back of the neck has been painted in a dark gray, that gray that I showed you, the Arctic gray from scale 75. Give that a minute to dry. Alright, so next we're going to add highlights to the upper areas of the shoulder in there, and like neck area. I'm gonna highlight that stuff. It's easier to add highlights and shade down a bit when you're working with non-metallic metal, in my particular opinion, because you want to glaze it down and get a smooth transition, so you can sell the effect of the NMM. So I'm gonna highlight this with Arctic Blue, also from Scale 75, and you want to try and keep your paints semi-thin. Not transparent necessarily, but still pretty thin. In part because you don't want to obscure detail. And in part because it makes it easier to flow off your brush and it's just better to work with. And just bring that down into the neck area. We're not bringing it all the way down because there's going to be some shadow we still want to leave in there, but just bring it down. And now we're going to use a mid-tone of Caspian Blue, also from Scale 75. All the Scale 75 stuff I'm using is from their non-metallic metal paint set, and I bought it at a convention at what was it? Nova Open a few years ago, and it's been invaluable. It served me very well. You want to glaze this on more than actually paint it at first. So you're just gonna, because you want to blend that transition between the dark gray and the lighter gray. And this is going to be done with a bunch of layers, but just bring it up. Bring it up. And like I said, this is a glaze, so it's not super thick. And you just want to soften the line between that light highlight and that dark shadow. You just want to sell that effect. Don't worry if this takes you a lot of layers. First off, it's a hobby, you should enjoy it, so just take your time with it and use it to relax. Second off, if you take your time and do it right the first time, you don't have to keep doing it over and over again on the same model. Your model's done, you did it right, and you have it to paint with. To play with in your games. So, a better illustration of how to do non-metallic metal would be these circles on the leg. And I painted it before I knew I was going to do a video on it. So you see the light, it gathers at the top, and then because it's a circle, it wanes off at the edges. And there's a rim in there, and the bottom, you see that catches the light, whereas the top ring is, the top of the rim is in shadow. And it's basically just about knowing how the shadows fall and using stark contrast. Like, I worked up from black, but using stark contrasts to sell the effect that this is actually metal. Let's even use stark contrast, and you also use some smooth blending, like on that guy. You can see it. And here you see the metal part. It's blended from that darker gray up to the light, almost a white gray. Actually, I think I did use the scale model white too, but it blends, just as a quick highlight, I did that off camera, but it blends up to that stark white, and you can see the contrast between that white and that dark. And like I said before, you can see it here, the light versus the dark, that contrast, that stark brightness versus that stark darkness is what sells it as metal that reflects. And that's basically the important part to remember about the technique. Alright, before I forget, if you have any questions for me about any of this stuff in any of my videos, feel free to put some questions in the comments and I will get back to you. Like, I will. Also, you can link up and go to the Facebook page if you're a Facebook user called Gamer Thing, and I'll leave a link for that in the description. But I'm very active on there, and you can share stuff from any kind of gaming stuff you want to just share, and also feel free to post your own images there from your own miniatures that you've painted or battle reports, like anything to do with gaming, you can put it there. Yeah. All right, folks. So that was a very bare bones NMM introduction. I mentioned some people at the beginning of this video that you could check out for further study on the matter, and at some point I will put out a proper NMM video, but this is okay for now. Yeah, if you hung around this long, thank you for staying and watching the whole video, and please hit like. If you haven't subscribed already, hit subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. All right. Later.